Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, here we are after market close on Wednesday, August 23rd. We're going to take a look at SPY today. So we're going to start here on the Webull daily chart and sort of get some levels, trend lines, that sort of thing. Then we're going to flip over to the Thinkorswim study and again on the daily, see how things are looking there. So SPY had a really nice push today, very, very strong intraday. I was covering it on the live charting session that I was doing. There are a bunch of gaps. That's quite interesting on the daily. You see a gap here. It's not big, but there's a little gap there right around 421. And so, I'm going to stick it to the top of this wick just to say if it's going to at some point come down and fill that gap, that's where that gap would end. So we'll see if that is anything that sort of comes into play. Now, there's also a bit of a down trend line here, and then we're going to scroll left to go backwards and take a look at previous price action in this same range. Right about here, it's trying to make a break of this downtrend that started at this most recent top, just shy of 460, caught these couple of weak candles. Now there is another gap here, and we'll just put this in here for now. Here, and the start of that would be right about here. Okay, so it's trying today to break that downtrend, which it's confirmed a couple of times. But we'll see. It's also relatively low volume, which is interesting. So it had a failed attempt here, basically had a failed attempt here. And it's not like it's, making a bunch of distance from this downtrend with today's candle. So I'm interested to see what happens the rest of the week and probably the rest of next week to get a several days of candles to see if it's actually making any distance from here, if it gets sort of sucked back down in, if it starts sort of following it down, but just outside of that. But yeah, that's an important factor as far as the levels go. So let's scroll back. Last time we were in like the 440s. Start to get, yeah. So here is the previous price action. We can get, let's see how much I can fit in here. Okay, so all of this in between. So here's the advantage of calling out this gap to the downside and this gap to the upside. We can now look at previous price action in between those levels and see where things played out. So I'm trying to get a good level here. Okay, here's a level here on 433. Let's see what this is, a better level, I would say. About 440 might be the more psychological level there. Pretty clear level here. That's one of the closer in ones, just shy of 447. Now things get a little bit more intricate. Okay, maybe about here, 443.46. And I don't know if there's going to be another level. I mean, there's going to be one up here. I would call it this one, just shy of 450, which when they're that close, they might just act more on the psychological level, aka 450. 451. Let me see if there's something more here between this 439, or I guess closer to 440, and 443. Let's see if there's something more in between here or there. Okay, I would say right about here. And then got a pretty big gap here, so let's try to fill something in. Right about there. Okay. So these are the levels as I see it, before we flip over to think or swim. See sort of respecting these in recent days. Yeah, pretty good. So not bad. Scroll left. So the closest in levels, as far as I see it, to the upside 443.46, the downside 441.66, and then below that, say basically 440, and above that 446. Now there might be an additional level in there here, about 444. Yeah, with the recent price action, I feel good about putting this one in right about here, say 445. Another pretty solid level. So we zoom in today, really, really strong. And yeah, bounced nicely off of all these levels that we just just put in. Good flip there. No reconfirm needed. It didn't come back down below 440. So, all right, Thinkorswim. Now, Thinkorswim, I'm looking at the channel, I'm looking at the TTM squeeze and the RSI. So as far as the channel goes, it had popped out of the channel here and then drew back to the mid-range, which is what we look for. And then it got shoved down through the bottom. And now today is coming back to the mid-range again. So sort of a critical moments in time when something retraces from outside of the channel back to the mid-range. Is it going to get rejected off of this and shoved back down? Is it just going to kind of sticky itself and go sideways for a little bit? Or can it actually get support over that mid-range and then, maybe make a charge toward the upper bound of the channel, which right now is sitting about 453, versus if it gets pushed back down toward the lower bound of the channel, sitting about 435 right now. Now, RSI obviously coming up the last couple of days. And you see just today, with today's candle, TTM squeeze indicator is showing diminishing bearish momentum. So could this provide an opportunity for the bulls to get a handle on it again? It does tend to have some pretty smooth, there's a few hiccups in there, you see it there also, but generally speaking, fairly smooth motion. I'm just going to look at these old ones here. Yeah, generally pretty smooth motions. I mean, this pretty herky-jerky, but it was mostly moving sideways. Yeah, so could this be the start? We'll see. Could it be a hiccup like that? Maybe. Tomorrow's candle getting put in will certainly help clarify that question. Nothing triggering yet. You see this was triggering back here. And then when it started to fire, it made a pretty good move up from triggering around, what was this, 411-ish? And then, this move up out of the channel all the way up into the 440. So really, really good percentage gain there on that move from that trigger and then that fire. So we'll see. Nothing triggering yet on the indicator. And yeah, that's where we are. So I hope you had a good hump day. Today is hump day. And as you finish your trading week off strong in the days ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.